Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the San Martin SN0017G, homage to a Rolex Submariner Hulk. Let's start with the wrist check. I'm wearing my Seiko SNJ031 Sapphire, which I use in my review to help out the lume test. And Grogo's wearing my Sanda 1108, homage to a Cartier tank. Grogu said Chewbacca is taking a poetry class at the Mos Eisley Community College. He is looking for words that rhyme with grunt, groan, arg, and ba wah wah wah. Han Solo said he'll be sure to write down everything Princess Leia shouts at him next time he comes home late from drinking at the Mos Eisley Cantina. Okay, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this round case. This is a new design for San Martin. The last San Martin I got, which was a pilot's watch, came in a big, much larger plastic case. And I think this is a little bit more compact and a little bit nicer. So I think the other case was just too big. So let's open it up. And here it is. Isn't that a nice looking watch? Now one thing though, the old San Martin cases had room for the tools. This one does not, so they gave it to you in a separate pouch. And the hang tag too. But once again, I think I still prefer this case, and I'm perfectly happy with the tools not being in the case. So let's get it out here. Comes on a pillow. And here it is. This is my first steel braceleted San Martin dive style watch on my channel. Although they've always seemed like they would be great watches to review, they tended to be a bit above my budget since I am self-funded and was not sure how easy it would be to sell a San Martin after I was done with it. Then I saw this NH35A powered SN0017G for $165, which seemed a bit more reasonable, so I decided to give one a try. It was available in black or green, and I'm not really a fan of black watches, so I decided to go with the green. This is of course an homage to a Rolex Submariner Hulk, but unlike Pagani Design, they don't do a Rolex style clasp. I'm glad they are homaging the discontinued Hulk and not the newer Starbucks, as I prefer the all green to the black dial. I've been very pleased with this watch, and wearing it has been a joy except for one major complaint. The watch is 40 millimeters at the bezel, 46.5 millimeters lug to lug with protruding end links. It's 12.5 millimeters thick if you don't count the Cyclops, and I never do. Has a 20 millimeter lug width and weighs 155 grams on the supplied bracelet with one link removed. The bezel is ceramic, and it's got the scalloped edges here, and the action's kind of stiff. I mean, it's good action. There's no slop or play in it. It's just stiff. So it'd be nice if it was just a hair looser, but it's not awful. Then the bezel too, only the pip is loomed. It's not a fully loomed bezel. But it's still a nice looking bezel. Then the dial, we have a sunburst effect. And once again, this is a Hulk. So it has a green dial. The newer Rolexes is called a Starbucks because it has a black dial and green bezel. I much prefer the green dial. Then we have the San Martin logo up top. I'm not a big fan of the San Martin logo. I just think it looks cheap. I wish they would come up with a better one. I think I much prefer the San Martins where they write out the name. And then it says automatic 200 meter, 600 feet. And yes, this is a 200 meter watch. And then we have the Rolex style upside down triangle at the 12, batons at the 6 and the 9. And dots everywhere else, and they're fully loomed, and the loom is quite good. I will show you in a test later. And then we have a date at the 3, and wow, look at that Cyclops. Now that's some serious magnification there. A lot of people complain about Cyclops, but I always say, well, if you have a Cyclops, then have a Cyclops, and this is definitely a Cyclops. Then being a Submariner homage, of course, we have the hands, we have a fence post minute hand, and then we have a Mercedes hour hand and a lollipop second hand, and everything is fully loomed. And unfortunately, as you'll see in the test later, the hand loom isn't quite as good as the index loom, which seems to be a common thread among Chinese homage watches. Then we have a signed screw down crown. Now here comes my first big complaint about this watch. Well, my only really big complaint. The thread action is really bad. You can really feel it. It's tight. And when you can really feel the threads when you unscrew it. And then when you go to screw it back down, it's even worse. Man, it takes a lot of effort to screw it down. And it's getting better. The more you do it, the easier it gets. It's just the first time I did it was very difficult. And so I was I'm hoping I just got a bad one and it's not common among all the San Martins. If anybody out there has the San Martin, let me know what you think of the thread action, because I just don't like it at all. This is a really big complaint to me. I mean, especially considering if I get a Pagani design, the thread action will be so much better than this, even though it costs half as much. Then another thing I noticed too is there's not a good pop when you unscrew it, which is rare for an NH35 powered watch. Usually they really pop. Then also, when you go to pull out the crown, it's difficult. Sometimes it's really hard to hack it. And sometimes you have to pull it more than once to get it to hack, and then you can adjust the hands. I found myself pulling it out and still be in wine date move mode. So let me screw that back down. Alright, then we have the case. The case is a very nice case. And it's polished on the sides, brushed on the tops, and brushed on the bottom. And it really looks like a Submariner case. And it's got the crown guards and everything. I really like it. I would say it's one of the highlights of this watch. Then when it comes to the case back, they went full Rolex here. Just a plain case back, coin edge and everything. So I actually have the tools to open something like this now, but I didn't want to do it because what's the point? It's just an NH35, nothing really to look at there. And of course, no writing on it whatsoever. Then it is an NH35 movement. This is San Martin often has better movements than an NH35, but this watch is $165. So they went with the NH35. I'm perfectly fine with that. I think the NH35 is a fine movement. And I have a feeling they regulated this one because it's been very accurate. But let's put it on the time grapher and find out. Here it is on the time grapher. Looks like it's running 6 to 7 seconds. Hardly any beat error, which is why you see a nice smooth line and not two lines. Amplitude's a little weak, could be a little bit better, but yeah, 5, 6, 7 seconds, that's running very accurate. So yeah, and once again, look how straight that line is. That's always a good sign. Then the oyster style bracelet has solid end links, and everything's brushed, no polish. And I think I prefer that anyway. I think I just like my tool watches to be brushed. Of course, the case is polished. And then we have screw pin adjusters. Normally I prefer push pins, but one nice thing about this one here, let me show you one of the screw pins. It's kind of hard to see, but look how long the threaded portion of the pin is. It's a lot longer than, let's say, the ones I see in Pagani design. And so I think the odds of this coming unscrewed are a lot less. So I really like that about it. Unfortunately though, the bracelet's a little short. I only removed one link and it's all the way back in the micro adjust. So if you have a big wrist, you're going to have to maybe ask San Martin for some extra links. Then we have the clasp. The clasp is very nice. It's fully milled. And it's got 4 holes of micro adjust so you can get the perfect fit. This is at 155 grams, this is a heavy watch, so you do want the perfect fit. And once again, I'm not a huge fan of the San Martin logo. And it looks like I got a few scratches on this clasp already. So it must scratch pretty easy because I really haven't had this watch that long. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. It's very nice looking. Looks like a sub, wears like a sub. Yes, I don't own a real sub, but I have tried one on at the dealer. It was a solid gold one, $40,000 worth, but it was a sub. But yeah, this is, when it comes to an homage sub, this is a really good looking watch. Here we are in the lume room. Just wearing the watch for review purposes, I could tell it had excellent lume. So instead of just doing a normal lume test, it would be more worthwhile to do it side by side with one of my strongest lumed watches, the Seiko SNJ031 As we speed up the time, we see that the watches start out neck and neck. However, although the San Martin index lume is a match, the San Martin hand lume is falling behind the Seiko. It is still a very strong lume, but a dive style watch should emphasize the minute hand and the lume pip. What do I like about this watch? First rate finish work, excellent Cyclops, awesome lume, fully milled clasp with 4 holes of micro adjust, and the screw pins have nice and long threads so they don't come out on you easily. What are my gripes and groans? The crown thread action is very rough. It's my major gripe and groan about this watch. Once again, I'm hoping I just have a bad one. If you have this watch, let me know what you think of your thread action. Bezel's a little stiff, but the action's great. I mean, there's no play or slop in it whatsoever. It's just a little stiff. And we could use one more link in this bracelet because it won't fit an 8-inch wrist. Do I recommend this watch? Yes, this watch is excellent. I'm hoping the thread action was just an anomaly and not typical of this watch. It's a stunner in the looks department and has some first-rate lume and finish. Well, thank you for watching my review of the San Martin SN0017G, and I will be back with an unboxing video. Just got something in the mail today. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.